Hello and welcome to Buckman's Model Mania. Today I'm going to do a quick update on the Chaperon from Model Expo 1/48 scale stern wheeler. So as you can see, there's been a little bit of work since the last time I posted an update, and it's been a couple of months. I've got these walls in on the sides, the wall on the back, and the wall on the front. If you watched the previous video, you'll remember that I had an issue a little bit with. Let me go ahead and take this mast out, roll this up on the side. But I was talking about an issue with the walls here because, and let's see if I can get it. You can see a little bit up under here where it is the floor is not completely down where it should have been. It should have been a little bit tighter to this piece, and the main deck or the boiler, sorry, the main deck should have been a little bit more curved, which would have made this piece a little bit more curved. This should have been down a little bit further, making this floor a little bit more curved than it is. You can see that it is curved, but not as much as it should have been. And so progressively what's happened is now up here, this deck, the next deck, is going to have a gap under it. If I put this piece on, when I line it up and it's perfect on there, there's a pretty serious gap underneath here. So what I'm going to have to do is adjust it by sanding this part down on both sides to get it to where I've got a smooth enough curve that it will sit on these walls. A little bit of adjustment. One of the things you have to do on wooden models is adjust to, because truly the parts are mostly scratch built. The laser cut parts are, they're laser cut. They're a whole lot easier to deal with, but then you got parts where you're scratch building. So what I did to fix the fact that there would be a light leak under here is it's twofold. First, I took a file, and I'm talking a regular rasp wood file. This file right here, and sanded down the walls on both sides. It's not enough to where you could really notice, but it is enough to where it smoothed out that curve a little bit. Brought this down a little bit. And hopefully I'm not going to have the same issue on the next deck. If I do, I'll have to do the same thing. But once I had that sanded down, both sides about the same, this about, let's call it a 1/16 of an inch lip here. What I'm going to do then is when I lay these up here, before I do too much sanding on it, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the next structure piece and look and see how it's going to fit if I bring this down. Plan is to bring this down a little bit, maybe bring it down all the way down about to this door so that everything fits and it goes together correctly. What I also did last time you saw these walls, they were just painted white. I did the windows, or I did the doors, painted the doors red, similar to the ones down here. And instead of, I did two different, did the windows two different ways. On this side, I've got acrylic pieces that I cut out to fit, and they fit okay. They have some gaps, which I had to fill with glue, but they weren't too bad. Up here in the front was a little bit more interesting, but I decided after that, I thought about it, and I have both the solar res and some other UV resin. I've got the lights. So what I did on the other side, and what I'm going to do with all the rest of the windows, now that I thought about it, did it in the front here, this one back here as well. That resin is supposed to dry pretty clear. And it did. It is really clear. I may or may not sand over it so that it's not so clear. You can see pretty well. Once I put the lights in, I'll look and see. But I took resin, the UV resin, and I just laid it in here before I put these, put the trim pieces are, the bars on here. I did that, and I think it came out looks really good. Matter of fact, take a look, and you can see it is, well, you can't see in the camera, but I can see that it's pretty clear, but it's not clear enough that I can really see what's going on inside, because the resin ends up flat on the outside and bowed up on a little bit on the inside. Kind of gives it a lens effect that makes it to where it doesn't look that clear. So let me move the boat over a little bit. Let's go ahead and switch cameras. And there is the back end. Looking pretty good. When I did this part here, I don't remember if this was done here. The bumper rail was done here before. I actually snapped this part here, repaired it pretty good. Like I said, I snapped the little sliver of wood out of here, had to put that in there. Big lump of super glue was here, but I've been able to fix that, make it look better. And you can see here, this window, you can see shadows behind it, but you can't. This one's sanded down. You can see some shadows behind it, but you can't really see what's inside there. Go ahead and turn this around. And I believe, and where this is just, actually, no, this is the UV resin as well. Same with this side. The other issue I looked at that I was worried I was going to have, let me get this flashlight, is light leaks. And you can see, actually, let me turn this to where you can actually see the seam there. So right here is the seam. Right here is the seam on this wall. And I don't see a light leak really there. Might have to, but what I might have to do is the same thing. Let me take a look. Let's see. Oh yeah, never mind. There is a pretty good light leak right there. You can see it when I shine the light right at it. What I'm going to have to do is the same thing I did all along here, all along the bottom edges, is I added, and I bought this specifically for working on this kit. It has hardwood. It has a harder wood that comes with the kit, and I will use it for structural pieces. I'm sitting here showing you things. I just realized I'm showing you things in the other camera, but I have never switched over to it. So let's talk about that again, because everybody knows I try not to edit. So now that I'm in the right camera, let me do that again. Oops. So you can see the light leak there, in this over here in this corner. I'm going to use these balsa rods, cut it off. Oops, this is the hardwood one. I'll just cut it off and fill that gap. Did the same thing. And actually, before I go back to that one, let me show the aft end. Like I said, you can see shadows in there, but get far enough away, you can't. So you can't see the wires that you can see from the top. So let me go ahead and switch back to the other camera. And what I was talking about here is that, actually, yeah, this is the same. This is the closest I've got. I'm using the balsa wood strip here instead of the hardwood strip. This will be used to, for anything that's got to be supported. But you can see where I put these balsa strips in here, and especially like right here, you see there's two layers. There's the one that is holding the wall, and I had a light leak because this wall is not all the way up against it. So what I did is I just laid another strip on here, and anywhere where there's multiple strips, it's just blocking light. Rather than using tulip or something like this, this is a wooden model, so I'm using wood pieces to fix it. So I'm about ready to start working on this next deck. Take that off. I had these two parts taped together. And I have fit the smokestacks through. They do actually fit. I can't put them in from the top, which is why you don't glue them in until you've got these two decks on. And you know, I'm going to work on this deck. Lesson learned. The reason the move these out of the way. The reason the boiler deck, which is the second deck where all the cabins are, is not curved the way it should be, is because I built this whole thing as a single piece and then glued it on. That was a mistake. That's why they have you glue each one of these individually on, because then once you put this on here, you can do something to make this fit down, put a clamp on it, and it will hold down in the right shape. Like I said, lesson learned. Once I have that down, before I put that down, I'll figure out where I'm going to put my wires through. Coming up from here, you can see the bus bars that I've still got. I'll just run power up to the next level. And I think I'll need a couple more spots where I'll have to bring power up, but it's going together. I also will be adding lights out here that are going to light up the area on either side here. It's going together slowly but surely. Learning things on this. It's been a while since I've done it. Well, I've never done a full ship like this before. I've done one from an Oakry kit, and it was, I would tend to say it was a lot better, but it's not a lot better. It was easier to do because of the way it was, because of the design of it. Neither one is better. It's just that one takes a little bit more skill, which I kind of think that's why I subconsciously left this one alone for a long time. Actually, I've got a gap under here, but that's also light blocked. So I hope you're enjoying this build. It's a slow build because it is a wooden model kit and takes a lot of thinking to get these things figured out. Next thing I'm going to do shortly is down here. It says to leave them off, but I think I'm good enough to be able to put the rails on here, showing where the railing would be on the main deck. Lost my thought process there. But do the rails on the main deck, they say to leave them off because you'll knock them off. If I knock them off, I'll put them back on. I got to finish off. I got to figure out how I'm going to finish off the boiler deck, and then I've got to start working on the hurricane deck. Hurricane deck being the next deck up. It's going to be pretty easy to line these up because you can see I've got holes. You've got holes in the boiler deck that are going to line up with the holes on the hurricane deck for the next railings. And the railings on the boiler deck are actually photo etched, so that's going to be a little bit of fun too. Hope you're enjoying this. Like and subscribe. Come on over to Hobby Time Modelers on Facebook, YouTube, and Discord. See what we're doing. A lot of the work on this is done on our streams, either on Friday night or Sunday afternoon. So if you want to see how I'm doing this stuff, that's a good place to come in. Also, I'm going to put a link in the description to where I'm getting a lot of my information, what I'm using as reference for this, because there's a site which actually has pictures and a 3D walkthrough of this actual boat. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. Have a great day. Have a great day tomorrow. And I will see you on my next video.